Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? And it is this evening. It is currently about 20 till 8. And I was just thinking about how I was going to make this a short vlog. I was like, I'm going to make this a short vlog because I still need to go on my walk tonight. And I was like so excited to go on my walk and listen to this book that I'm listening to that I just started last night that's really, really good, which I'll get into in just a second. But I was thinking about that, and as I was walking out, because I just looked at the clock as I was walking out here because I wanted to tell you guys what time it is. I don't know why, but I also kind of wanted to like register. I didn't want to walk at 10 o'clock at night, you know? And I just started uploading my drama video on my phone. Well, it takes about 40 minutes to an hour to upload a video. And I'm like, okay, so I was going to make this a short vlog. But the reality is that I can't walk until my video is uploaded because I have to wait so I can listen to my audiobook on my phone. So, I don't know. This will probably still be kind of a short vlog. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see where I go. This whole day has just kind of gotten away from me in a way that I didn't expect it to. I just warmed up my coffee. I made this coffee like 2.5 hours ago. It's my first cup of coffee for the day. I made this about 2.5 hours ago. No, actually, this is my second cup of coffee for the day because I did my prayers and meditations and then later I made this cup of coffee. But I made this cup of coffee before I did my drama video and then it got so cold, so I just heated it up in the microwave. See, it's all steaming and stuff. I'm trying to go through a lot of my Christmas coffee that I have. I still have like a half a container. I think I have a half a box in there of the, maybe not. Maybe I went through it already. I'll have to look when I go in there. Of the Barney's white Santa's white Christmas coffee or whatever. But I have these boxes in the garage I've been trying to go through, and I don't even know what the brand is. It's like Nuts and Bolts or something, but they're like gingerbread, white Christmas, pecan hazel. There are all these like Christmassy kind of flavors, so I'm trying to get through those before like, you know, winter is completely over. It's a little colder in Indianapolis today. It was like mid-50s. It was cold. It's very cloudy and just gray and dark, and it actually rained last night. So I was sitting on this chair filming my drama video, and I got up, and I didn't even realize it when I was filming it, but when I got up, my butt was wet. My butt was soaking wet because this cushion is wet from the rain last night because the rain came in and soaked it. It didn't get that chair, but I got this one. And so I put here, I'll show you. I have this cushion underneath me right now, so I can, so my butt doesn't get so, it's already wet, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, yeah, this day just kind of got away from me because I slept in today and I had therapy at 3 o'clock today. And so I was going to try to film some videos before that. That was my plan initially. And then last night, I stayed up a little bit later than I thought I would. I got into this show, which I'll talk to you guys about in just a second, because one of you recommended it to me. I got into this show last night, and it was so good. And anyway, I had the candles lit, and I was so cozy, and I was scared, and it was a true crime thing. And so I was like so into it that I just like had a hard time going to sleep. Well, I took a nap last night, and so I had a hard time. Did I take a nap last night? Why can't I never remember? I did fall asleep for a while last night. So when I got up, I started watching these shows and stuff. And so I got up a little bit later than I usually do today. And so I was like going to make some videos and stuff before my therapy session. I thought, no, I'll just wait till afterwards. I didn't really, like, because usually my therapy sessions are at 2, but today it was at 3. And so I didn't really connect it. Caroline cannot do Cousin Fun Day this week. So we did therapy today instead of tomorrow because usually Cousin Fun Day is on Wednesday. And so, anyway, for some reason, I don't know, I was thinking of it being like at 2, and then when I got done at 3, I'd have like 3 to like, Alex usually gets home between 5:30 and 6, I'd have like 2.5 hours to film videos and do all the stuff I needed to do inside. I didn't really think about the fact that I wouldn't get done until 4, and then that would give me from like 4 to 5, and actually, like, I got done right at 4 and then was like cleaning up some stuff, took Boo outside. And so anyway, my day got kind of away from me today. And honestly, by that point, I was like, I don't know that I'm going to film any videos today. Like, I might just film my vlog and let that be it. And honestly, like, this isn't like one of those jokes where I'm like, I didn't think I was going to film any videos. I really didn't think I was going to. I was even thinking about maybe taking the day off and not filming my vlog today. And so I had a really, really deep therapy session today. We're doing the trauma narrative. We're on question 4 out of 10. And today was like really, really deep, like very emotional. And I got off of the therapy session and I just was kind of like, I felt drained. And so like I took Boo out and did some stuff around the house and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like Alex is going to be home before long. And I wasn't going to film any videos. And then I was in the bathroom. And I was like watering the plants and stuff. And I was like, oh, I was going to do this plant update of like how my plants are doing. So I did that video. And then I came out here and I did a Peterisms video. And then that was all I was going to do besides my vlog. And then while I was waiting for those videos to render, I was kind of like looking through social media. And some people had tagged me on some stuff. And so I was like, I watched this video. And then like I made a response to it. And I thought the response would only be like 20 minutes. And it ended up being like, I think it's like 45, 50 minutes long. And it was dark by that, well, it was getting dark. And so I sat in this chair, and by the time that, when the video starts, it's like light outside still, and by the time that the video ends, it's like completely dark, like it is right now. But I didn't have the carriage light on, and so it looks really dark in the video. It doesn't matter. But anyway, and so then I went inside, and Alex is just like doing a bunch of stuff in there and whatever, and he was like, just now, before I was coming, because I was like, I'm going to go outside and vlog, and he was like, okay. I was doing some cameos while I was waiting for the drama video to get done rendering so that then I could start the vlog. And he was like, I said, oh, I'm going to go outside and vlog. And he was like, okay. He was like, are you wanting to still watch Vanderpump Rules together? I said, babe, you can just watch it on your own. I'll catch it up. Or we can watch it tomorrow. It's up to you. So he's upstairs. I think he's watching Vanderpump Rules. So, because tonight is also the Real Housewives of Miami reunion, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. So we'll probably watch those tomorrow night with the Swan. Because tonight, when I get done vlogging, I want to walk. So, last night I walked again. I've walked the last couple nights last night was 48 minutes that I walked. I know the exact amount of time. It's so funny, I was just going to say, there's nobody else walking besides me at this time, and this guy over here. And, it was so funny, I was just getting ready to say that, and he just walked by. He's like the only other one that walks like at night when I walk, and we like pass each other like several times while we're walking. We like wave to each other and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I walked for like 48 minutes last night, and then I came back, and I was like super, super hungry. And so I made this, it was from Trader Joe's, the meal. It was this vegetarian eggplant curry. It was really good. It was really, really good. And then this new brand that I tried when I went to Target the last time, I think it's called like Good Earth or something like that. And it was this, it was like chickpeas. It was like curry, and it had like broccoli and carrots in it and stuff like that. It was pretty good too. And then after that, I was like really, really full. I'm gonna light some of these I'm gonna light these 2 candles that I have out here. So after that, I was really, really full, and then took a shower, and then laid down for a little bit. And I was like, honestly, I was so tired. I feel so like calm and relaxed after my walks. I'm like so in love with my walks, right? My knee still hurts a little bit, but not bad. When it starts like hurting is when I like head back. And but when I get back, like, I walk pretty fast. I wouldn't say it's like anything like running or anything like that, but I still feel like it's pretty good cardio. And so when I get back, I feel like, so it reminds me of like when I used to work out back in the day, when I would have like that, like, you know, when your endorphins are like going off and you feel like calm, and I feel so calm and relaxed when I get back. So took a shower and all that kind of stuff. Oh, so the book that I'm listening to, well, yesterday, Reese Witherspoon came out with her book. Did I say this yesterday? Yesterday's vlog. I mean, it looks like a good book, but I'm like really wanting to read thrillers right now. I lit this candle. This is the perfect Christmas, I think. 'Tis the season. It's been out here for a long time. And then I also lit this bonfire candle, which really, like, I light it like every night while I'm out here reading and stuff. Oh, I did that last night too. Like, I read a little bit more. I read, I think, 1 or 2 more stories in the Raymond Carver book. And then I also read a little bit more of the Jill McCorkle book. But anyway, so I was waiting for the new Reese Witherspoon book to come out for Reese's book club, and it came out, and it looks good. Like, the book looks like something that I would want to read, but I'm like, it's not a thriller, and I'm wanting to read a thriller right now. And so I feel like I'm sitting up like this because I'm sitting on this pillow. So then I was like, well, should I start The Firm? Because The Firm and The Exchange are the books for Peter's book club this month, and then the Idaho Killings, College Killings is the book for True Crime book club. But I think I'm going to save those till like towards the end of the month, or maybe next week. And so, like, The Firm and The Exchange, I think I'm going to save for when we're in Florida, and like, traveling and stuff, and then the True Crime Book Club I'll probably listen to next week. So anyway, I don't think the True Crime Book Club is very long. My phone's not out here because my video is uploaded in there on the phone. But anyway, so I was like looking through, and I was going to read this. I think it's by Gillian McAllister. It was on Reese's Book Club. It's called Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I know some of you have mentioned it to me before, but I downloaded it a long time ago. It's supposed to be a really good thriller. But Nikki had just gotten the book from the library, the Lisa Jewell book. I think it's called None of This Is True. It's her newest one out. And Stacy had also recommended it to me in the comment section of the vlog. So I was like, well, maybe I'll try this one. So I started listening to it. The thing is that there's like multiple actors that read the audiobook. And it takes place in England. And so it's like, you know, English accent, and then it's like different actors, and so it's very fast. So I can't listen to it as fast as I usually listen to an audiobook. So I was like, well, let me give this like 15 minutes try, and maybe this will be a book they'll have to save. I was hooked immediately. I was absolutely hooked. Like, I told Alex when I got back from my walk last night, I was like, I could have walked for 3 hours and just finished this book. Like, well, the book was like, I'm listening to it at like 2 times 2 speed, so I think it was like 4 hours and something that I had to listen. I don't know how much. Anyway, so I listened to like 48 minutes of it, and then I listened to like another half an hour of it last night. It is so good. I'm not even that far into it yet, and it's so good. It's about these 2 women in England, and they live very different lives, and they meet in this restaurant because it's both of their birthdays, and one of them's there with her husband, the other one's there with like her husband and her friends and stuff like that. I just took my hat off during this cameo, and I was like, oh my god, to like make a point. It was a birthday cameo about getting older, and I was like, oh my god, my hair looks so bad today. But anyway, so they like meet in this restaurant in London, and they're like birthday twins. But at the same time that they're telling the story, there's this podcast that goes along with it that like is like a true crime podcast that's called Birthday Twins or something like that. So you know that it's so anyway, and then it's told in real time, and then this woman's like a podcaster. Anyway, it is a fantastic story. It is like really a really good story. And it kind of gives me elements of like Liam Moriarty, in that there's like all these different stories that you know are going to collide together. But then it's also trying to figure out these 2 different women's lives and like secrets that they're keeping, and how it kind of like unfolds into this huge mystery. It's very good. Like, they say things like in there, like, so they hint at things in this podcast. It's like you listen to parts of the podcast like while you're listening to the audio. Like, it's like part of the book, but like you know, and so like part of the podcast would be like, well, that was like they interview like a neighbor, this one woman, and they're like, how did you meet her? And they're like, oh, this, and they're like, we thought she was strange, and that was before the murders happened. And so you know there's murders that are going to happen, right? But you don't know when they're going to happen. So I'm listening to that, and it's really really good. I really like it. So if you're a thriller fan out there, I would definitely recommend Lisa Jewell's None of This Is True. And in fact, I want to ask for people out there that have read Lisa Jewell before, Stacy, maybe some other people. I really want to, like, after this, I want to read another Lisa Jewell book, or at least, like, next couple months. What would be the next ones that you guys would recommend? Because I looked, and she has, like, 10 or 15 books out. So I don't know. There's 2 that are in, like, a series, and it's called, like, The Family Upstairs. I don't know if that one's the next one I want to read. I think those are her newest ones. And there's, like, the Invisible Girl. I went in and looked at a bunch of them. So anyway, I took a shower, laid down, rested for a little bit, got up, and when I got up, what did I watch first? I watched something. Tanya and I were talking about different shows to watch last night. I talked to Tanya last night on the phone. Tanya and I were talking about different shows to watch last night, and you know, I just realized the Oscars are on this Sunday, and I haven't watched any of the Oscar movies except for Barbie and The Holdover. And I don't even know if I'm going to watch the Oscars this Sunday. That's how so checked out I am from the Oscars this year. I just have noticed, I really am not in it. Next year I'll probably be in it to win it and watch every movie, but this year I just really wasn't in it at all. I'll probably watch some of it, but I don't care about these movies this year. Any of them. So anyway, I'm just not interested, which is so weird because I'm always so interested in it. But what did I watch first? Did I finish something that I was watching? Oh, I think I finished that, or did I finish it the night before? I can't remember. I must have finished it because Tanya and I were talking about it. I watched The Bachelor. That's what I watched. So I'm caught up in The Bachelor except for Monday's episode. So I'm going to watch that probably tonight. So I went through and I was looking at all this true crime. Like, I was adding, is it getting that cold that you can see my breath outside? Oh, it is. it doesn't feel that cold outside. I mean, it probably feels like 45, 50, which probably sounds cold to some of you, but it doesn't feel that cold out here. But anyway, so I was looking through all these true crime documentaries. I was like on Max and stuff like that. And I think one of the reasons I was thinking about this last night, this is just a side note, and this probably, like, is Cinemax the same thing? Like, did HBO Max and Cinemax combine at some point? I think that's the reason why I have a hard time calling it just Max, is because it reminds me of Cinemax. Does Cinemax even exist anymore? Is Cinemax and HBO, are they the same thing? I don't even know. So anyway, I was going through and I was like making, oh, here's that guy coming around again. See, that's what you do in this neighborhood. You just like walk the same streets and circles. And so anyway, I went in there and I was like adding things to my watch list. There's really not a lot. There's probably like 5 or 6 on Netflix I still want to watch, but I'm not. I was like, I really, like, Tanya and I were talking about this last night because she was telling me something she watched. She's like, it's really good. And I was like, Tanya, I don't have any desire. Oh, the Crime of Fame or the Price of Fame or something she said was really good. And she was telling me all these things. I was like, Tanya, I want to watch something that's like a murder in a small town that you have, like, I love those, okay? Like, those are the true crimes that I love to watch, where it's like, my ideal true crime documentary would be some unsolved murder in a small town, or maybe it's solved at the very end, that I've never really heard of before, and it takes place in the middle of nowhere, like in Indiana, like here, and it's like 6-part series. Like, that would be what I would love to watch the most, right? So I'm going through here, and I think it was on Max, and somebody had commented, I think it was on the vlog, and said, and I had totally forgotten that I listened to this podcast, and they said something about the podcast that I watched, and it was called Tom Brown's Body. And it was a podcast I listened to, was when I was still driving, so it would have been, I don't know, 3.5, 4 years ago, and it was called Tom Brown's Body. And it was about this kid that was from a small town, and I remember the town being called Hempful. And the show that I watched, it's called Canadian. Texas is where it's at. I don't remember that from the documentary, but maybe I just don't remember it. Or the podcast. But anyway, I listened to the podcast. The reason why I remember this podcast when the person commented on it was because the theme song to it is this Anvit Brothers. Is that their name? I really like them, but I don't have a lot of their stuff downloaded. The theme song is one of their songs. And my old sponsor, he and his wife used to go to like all their concerts across the country. Like, they would travel places to go to is it the Anvit Brothers? Is that their name? But anyway, I love their music. I just don't know them that well. When I looked up that song from the theme song, it was one of their songs. And that's how I remember that podcast. I don't know why, because the song is like a really, like, kind of sad, but like really great song. And, so somebody had commented on my vlog, and so whoever you are, I don't know who you are, but thank you so much for this comment. And they said they were watching a second episode of season 1 of this series. Now, here's the thing. I don't like the series that, like, Dateline and those kind of things, or when it's like missing women and it's like 6 seasons, but maybe I'm changing my mind, I don't know. When every episode's about a different case, because I don't feel like you really get into it that much. Like, I love, like, what's it called, Murder in the Heartland or whatever, but by the end of those are episodes to while I'm eating TV, or eating dinner to watch TV, because by the end of it, I'm kind of like, at that point, it's, you know, I want a 6-part series, I don't want that, right? So somebody had commented on my vlog, and they said that they had been watching this documentary series, and it was called Murder Under the Friday Night Lights, which I already knew was football related, right? And I'm not a football fan, so I was like, ugh. What is this about? Football, high school football? Like, I'm not interested in that, right? He's walked by here like 3 times now. He must just be doing these rounds tonight. So I was like, I'm not really into that. But I wanted to watch it because I hadn't seen a documentary about this Tom Brown, and I had listened to the whole podcast on it. And there have been a few updates since then, but not really anything. And so I was like, well, I want to watch this documentary because I've listened to the podcast, but I wanted to see the players, you know, I wanted to see the people. I didn't even have like a picture on my face of what the Tom Brown, this kid, looked like. And it's this case about this kid that went missing in Canadian Texas, in this small town. He had played for the football team, and he had quit. And then one night he was driving around with his friends on I think it was Thanksgiving night, and then they went home, and then he went missing, and they felt like it was a police cover-up, and they found his backpack, and they found his phone and stuff, but the whole thing seemed like a cover-up, and it was just very bizarre. And I remember listening to the podcast, and I remember those pieces from it. So I looked up this documentary, and it was, I think it was on HBO Max, and it's called Murder Under the Friday Night Lights. And it's got 3 seasons out, and every season is 6 episodes. And it's, so I'm like, so it was the second, I could see it was the second episode because I read it. And I'm like, if I'm going to watch this, I'm going to watch it from the beginning and just watch each episode. So the first episode that I watch, okay, so it's all to do with like high school football in small towns. I think they're all in Texas, but I could be wrong. Small towns in Texas, okay? So I'm like, oh, this is going to be about, like, high school sports. I'm not interested in this. And to be honest with you, I kind of didn't, like, I knew he played football, this Tom Brown, but I didn't, like, know. I was like, how are they connecting this to the Friday Night Lights kind of thing, right? Like, why is it on this one? So I watched his first documentary, okay? They're, like, 45 minutes long, each one. Fantastically done. I mean, they're like this 6-part series. They are really, really well done. They're not cheesy. They're not just like breeze over things. They're really well done. So I watched the first one, and it's about this cheerleader in 1982 named Retha that was killed, and in her small town that she was in. They're all small towns. And that she was a cheerleader, and then leading up to that, there were all these other cheerleaders that had been raped by this guy. And so they thought it was all the same person. But he was like picking people off the cheerleading squad. And this town was like, it's all these towns that revolve around like high school football is what it is. And so it really doesn't have a lot to do with football or sports. I mean, they have connections to that, but that's not what it's about at all. It's not about sports or anything like that. It's just the fact that it's in these small towns that are like this town, like in Tom Brown's The Body, which is the second episode, but it's not called that. That's what the podcast is called. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, like they say, the guy that does the podcast, because he's interviewed on there, and he says the town of Canadian has something like 3,000, their stadium for the high school football team has 3,000 seats, 400 more than the town population. And so it's kind of like how these towns are all surrounded around by high school sports. And that's the connection, right? They're all small towns. So I watched the first one. It was scary, you guys. Like, it was like, I love a good true crime story that can get me scared. Whoever you are out there that recommended this to me, please take total, responsibility for it in the comment section below, because I am so thankful for you for putting the connection. Because if you just said it's a good documentary, I don't know if I would have watched it or not, because I have so many lists, or so many on my list and on my watch list and stuff like that. But the fact that you connected it to that podcast got me interested, and I'm so thankful I did. So I watched that first episode. I don't want to tell you all about it. It's very, very good. And it also, in there, like, it talks about that there's one girl, like, she's the first one that's raped, and basically she's like filled with so much shame and guilt that she doesn't tell anybody. Like, the other cheerleaders are mad that she didn't show up for this cheer. She never tells them really until the end that she was raped, because she's just a lot of shame and guilt. And she's talking about that time. It's very interesting from a sociological point of view. The second one is about Tom Brown and his family, his mom and brother, and this investigator and the police. And well, the police opted out of it, but if you look it up, there's updates since then of what the family is like in this lawsuit and stuff like that. But this guy that does this like radio shows in it. The third one, you never know what you're going to get, right? The third one is about another they're all small towns. The third, which is like, this is ideal of what I love. I mean, I was sitting there literally watching it last night. I was like, I could binge watch this for 12 hours straight. Like, I'm so in love with this. The last one was about this German teacher. She and her husband were both teachers at this high school. And she goes missing in the middle of the night. There's like all this blood in her bedroom, and she goes missing, and they have no idea where she went, and they find her body. And it's like, who would kill this teacher that everybody loved this teacher. She was this German teacher. She was from Germany, and everybody loved her in this small town. I mean, like, they have ex-students of hers talking about how much they loved her in this documentary. It's fantastically done. It is so well done. And so her name was Manuela. So anyway, and her husband's name was Peter, and Manuela Allen and Peter Allen. And that one was really interesting. So I watched those 3 documentaries last night, and then it was like so late. Oh, I know what I did last night. I'm trying to do like a cleaning thing each night. So underneath the bar where all those books were, I cleaned out that whole area last night. I only ended up saving like 6 books out of like 100. I couldn't believe it. And got rid of all those, like boxed those books up and put them in the basement. And then the 6 that I saved, I put on the desk down in the basement. So, got those down there. I'm finding that I have a lot of copies. Actually, I have to tell you, 2 books that I just ordered online because I'm gonna do a book haul. The last 2 came today. 2 books that I ordered online. One of them's called I think it's called Tom Parker or something like that. That one and Garden of Eden by Hemingway. The exact copies that I ordered, I literally had in the basement in pristine edition. So now I have 4 copies of those. So I'm just going to give them to friends of mine. But anyway, I actually have a couple friends of mine that love to read that I'm going to have them like come over here and look through all the books before I get rid of them. Because I have some like great books. Then there's a lot of books that I look at and like when I've looked them up online, they're out of print. And I don't want to get rid of them. Or they're like the original editions that like when they first came out. They're not worth anything. But I don't want to get rid of them in case they go out of print and you can't get them. They're not like, you know, Stephen King or Daniel Steele or whatever. And they're not like super famous authors. They're like people that are a little bit, you know, like more obscure that once they go into print, I don't know that you'll ever be able to get these books again. I look for books on Audible and Amazon all the time that you can't find. And sometimes you can't even find them on thrift books and libraries and stuff like that. So anyway, went through that last night and cleaned that out. Alex is like, you're totally on this cleaning kick with the basement and everything. I was like, I know. And I'm walking. Yeah, took my walk last night, everything. So did that last night. So that's why I got started a little bit late on stuff. And, so, by the time I got done with that 3rd episode, I was like, I need to go to bed. But I could have watched like so many more of them. I cannot wait until tonight to start watching that again. So I've got 3 more episodes of the 1st season, and then there's 2 more seasons left of it. So I'm going to binge watch that, and then I don't know what I'm going to watch after I get done. I'm not going to watch it all tonight, obviously, but yeah, I love it. It's really a good documentary series. Now, those are the kind of series that I can get down with. But some of them, like Murder in the Heartland, I like, but like I don't like. By the time I've watched up to the 2nd one, I'm kind of like, ugh. I mean, they're kind of a little slow paced. But these are really, really good and well researched. So if you're looking for something like that, it's on Max and it's called Murder Under the Friday Night Lights. If you just put in like Murder and Friday Night Lights, it'll pull up. It's really good. I don't know if there's other places that you can watch it other than Max, but it's really good. So yeah, so that's the one that I'm watching right now. Everybody I talked to, like Mel, she was watching Pathological about Jordan Vandersloot. Tanya was watching Pathological by Jordan Vandersloot. I feel like everybody I'm talking to, because it just came out, they're all watching that. So yeah, so that was last night. I had such a great night last night. I felt so good physically and, you know, was done good with the eating the last couple nights. Not great. The last night I did well. And today I've done well. And I've been walking, drinking my water, stuff like that. So staying away from sugar. I haven't done fantastic, but I've done okay. So it'll be interesting. I did not weigh myself today or yesterday, so I have no idea what... Did I weigh myself yesterday? I don't remember. I have no idea what my weigh-in is going to be like tomorrow. I'm a little nervous about it. It'll probably be exactly the same as it's been the last 2 weeks. It's kind of my weight is. And then I like just drop it all of a sudden. Well, let's hope I don't gain this week. That's a fear too, is that I could like gain. I could wake up tomorrow and be like, oh my god, I'm heavier than I was last week. But that goes along with weight loss, you know? As long as I don't move up, like back to where I was before I started, you know, I mean, I think about this, that like, for so long, like when I was like 240, 250, I was like, God, if I could just be back to 230. And then I got down to 230, you know, and I wasn't trying, I just lost the weight and stuff. And then I got down to 230, and I, you know, was like, I dropped weight, and then, you know, got down 215, 210, and then below, and then was like just kind of stagnant forever. And now it's like 230 for me. Like, well, it is. I mean, I'm still heavy, like where I'm at, right? But like, it's so strange to me to think that like 30 to 60 pounds heavier than I am now, you know? Like, I don't know. Speaking of which, as I'm saying this, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, some people don't like to hear the weight stuff because they say it's triggering or whatever. You know, I left this talked about this comment that I got on my video the other day, and somebody said, it was somebody that leaves nice comments on my video, so it wasn't like they were whatever, but they said something on the video, and I mentioned this in there, and they said something about the fact that when I say that I'm gonna do things, but then I don't do them, it's very triggering to them. Do you guys remember I mentioned this? I think, I can't see where I'm at on time, but I feel like this is going to stop here in just like 10 seconds. Hold on just a second. Where am I at on time? Yeah, it's going to stop here in just a couple of seconds. Hold on a second. Where are we at? See, 3, 2. I don't know how I caught that. I usually never do. I mean, I didn't catch it. It stopped, and then I started it again. But anyway, I got this comment on the video, and somebody said, I think one of the reasons why the comment was interesting to me was because the people that don't like me out there, like, one of their ongoing things is I always say that I'm going to do things that I never do, right? And so, and I don't know that it was necessarily just about me writing books, because it wasn't on a video where I was talking about that. It wasn't a video where I was talking about writing books. But this person said it's very triggering for them when I talk about things, but then I never end up doing them, right? So I made a comment about it on my video the other day. Well, somebody else commented. Another person that's watched my vlog for a long time and left a very nice message. But since you left the comment, I'm going to bring it up, because I commented back to it. I don't know if you responded or not, so I haven't even looked to see if you responded to it. But they said something about, it was a really nice comment, and they explained about growing up in an alcoholic home, and that having people tell them they were going to stop drinking, and then they would not stop drinking, and that was triggering to them. I grew up in the same environment. I understand that. I understand people making promises to you that don't come through, right? Like saying they're going to quit drinking, or saying they're going to change something drastically about a behavior that's detrimental to your life. Like, I totally understand that, right? And then this person went on and they said something about, Peter, we just want the best for you and whatever makes you happiest. That's why we're invested in it. And but they kind of like co-signed it and said, I can understand why the person said it was triggering. Here's the thing, right? Like, that word triggering in our society today has a really heavy connotation, okay? And I know that the person that originally left the comment, because they did not respond to it, and they respond to a lot of my comments. I know that they know, because I've seen the other comments that they left, they know the seriousness of the connotation of saying triggering, right? That's why we have trigger warnings on videos when people talk about very serious topics. So what I'm confused about, what I don't understand about, right, is that, and like, if it was somebody that I knew didn't like me, then it would totally make sense to me, and I, to be honest with you, wouldn't even talk about it. But what was confusing to me was, it was obvious when I looked that it was somebody that's watched my vlog for a long time that really likes me. When I'm in a video and I talk about, hey, this guy walking by again. When I talk about, like, whether it's I'm going to write a book and make a movie, or clean the basement, or take a walk tonight, or clean the kitchen, or stick to a diet, and I mean, the only person that really affects is me. How is that triggering to somebody else? I don't know why that door just closed. That's so weird. I've been vlogging for half an hour and I just now like settled in. I don't understand how that's, what is that trigger in you? Like, I need to understand this. Number one, I need to understand it, because I think that word has very serious connotations. I just want to make that very, very clear. That's not a word that you can use lightly in today's society. If you say to somebody, what you're saying is triggering me, okay? That would imply, like, if somebody shares a story about something very serious, okay? And they're not talking, this person was not talking, I mean, they were very specific. They were like, when you say you're going to do things and you don't, that's triggering to me, okay? They weren't saying, like, me talking about alcohol and drugs is triggering to them, or when people are sharing stories of abuse that's triggering to them, or self-harm, or I mean, they weren't saying that. It was, when I say I'm going to do something like take a walk and I don't do it, or I say I'm going to film a video and I don't do it, or I say that I'm going to, like, read a book and I don't do it, that's triggering to them. What is that triggering in you? I really need to understand this for anybody out there that feels this way, because now it's obviously two. So, because what that's saying is that it's triggering something deep in you, enough to even comment on it, okay? And so, that I take that word very seriously, right? I take that word trigger very seriously. So, if you're saying that what I'm saying is triggering a feeling and a response in you, what is that? Your own laziness? Your own setting goals and not fulfilling them? I mean, that's pretty light. Like, that's not a big deal. But when you're saying that, that's a serious word to use in our society today. I'm not sure that like you even think about that. But if you're standing in a workplace, okay, let's just put this out there. If you're standing in a workplace, okay, or in a friend group, and somebody said something, and that person looked at you and said, what you are saying is extremely triggering to me, right? That would be a serious response, number one. Number two, so I need to understand that, why that word was used. That's a serious word, okay? There are some words that I take very seriously, and that's one of them. The second thing that I need to understand, or I need to say is, that if me getting on my vlog where I share what I'm doing every single day and sharing that I was going to have a cup of coffee but I decided not to, or I decided that this winter was going to be the winter that I cleaned out the basement but I haven't done that, which is not the truth because I have been doing that, or that I'm going to take a walk but then I don't, or that I'm going to read a book or watch a TV show but then I don't, like The Bachelor, and then I never finish it, whatever it is, because those are the things that they're talking about, right? If you have an issue with that, and that is so hard for you to hear and accept, and that is triggering to you, then probably this isn't the channel for you. And I'm not saying that to be cruel. I'm not asking you to leave. I would love for you to stay. But as a human being, most human beings that I know that I talk to on a daily basis, like Tanya, I'll be like, hey, Tanya, what'd you do today? And she'll say, well, you know, like I was going to go to the store, but I just kind of didn't feel like I'm not like, oh my God, Tanya, why are you saying that to me? That's like triggering all this kind of stuff. I mean, come on now, right? If you get that upset and you are that sensitive over somebody saying that they're going to take a walk or read a book and they don't end up doing it, this is not a channel for you. I mean, I'm just being honest with you, because there's going to be many moments in the future, and maybe even in the rest of this vlog, where I say I'm going to do something and I don't end up doing it. Okay, that's human nature. That's called being a human being, right? So, if somebody's driving real slow by my house. So, if that's hard for you to hear, I just want to make this very, very clear for anybody out there, okay? This vlog is where I share shit about my life, right? I feel very safe and comfortable over here, like you guys are friends of mine. Honestly, I do. I feel like I'm literally picking up the phone and calling Tanya Jean and telling her about my day. In that same conversation that I would have with Tanya, you know, or Mel or Nikki or Valerie or anybody, you know, I would have a conversation and I would say, oh, well, I was thinking about doing this, but I decided not to, or I didn't end up doing it because I was too tired today or whatever. That's everyday life, okay? Furthermore, I want to say, if you are somebody that is so structured that you make a list every single day and you live by that list, and if you do one thing off that list, then your entire life falls apart, then that concerns me for you, okay? But all I'm going to say is that if me saying that I'm going to write a book or write a movie or put a movie out there or do a video or watch a TV show or read a book or listen to an audiobook or take a walk or get healthy or whatever I say, that's a goal for me, and I choose to not complete that, or I'm too lazy and I don't complete that, if that is too hard for you to hear, this is not the channel for you. And I just want to make that clear, because I don't want anybody that is watching my videos to get off of watching my videos and feel worse after they watch it, that it like is triggering so many things and then that they just can't, you know, like especially when I'm talking about books and movies and drinking coffee and walking and cleaning a basement, okay? I don't know what pristine house you live in, but for me, like, that's not it. So, I don't know. I take that word there are things that I talk about that I can totally understand. When people say things to me like, you know, Peter, like when you talk about your weight and you're incessantly talking about your weight and whatever, like that's triggering for me because I have weight issues. I get that 100%. It's not going to stop me from talking about it because this is my journey. And in all honesty, this is my channel and this is my life and I'm going to share what I need to talk about. But I totally understand that when people say that, right? Even when I talk about my recovery, if I'm sharing like stories from my past and whatever, and somebody's in early sobriety or they're not sober yet and they say, that's really triggering for me to hear that when you say that, right? Like, I totally understand that, okay? But for somebody to say that they have an issue with that when it's over simplistic things like making coffee, taking a walk, cleaning a basement, writing a book, or putting a movie out there, Y'all never come up with dreams or said you're going to do things you didn't end up doing. Like, that's being a human being, okay? And I'm not going to stop being a human being over here. So I need somebody to explain to me in the comment section what exactly you meant by that. And I don't think that's an unfair request. And I'm not coming for anybody. I'm not attacking anybody. I didn't leave the comment. And I want to make that very, very clear. I have a right to question something that somebody leaves in a comment. And I am confused. So please clarify what you mean. And I don't need a kiss-assy response where you go, oh, Peter, I'm so sorry that you took it that way. I took it exactly the way that you wrote it. I know what you meant by it because you wrote it, the comment. And I'm not mad about it. I'm confused, okay? And I take that word very seriously. So if you didn't mean the word triggering, please explain to me what you meant and not use that word. Because in certain situations, I have tried not to talk about my weight over here as much and just save it for the weight loss journey. It's one of the reasons why I did the videos dedicated to that, so that somebody that's triggered by those issues can say, well, I'm only going to watch this video of Peter doing his weight loss journey. That I'm not going to, I mean, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, this is my vlog. I can't watch everything that I'm going to say over here and be very careful about, like, oh, I better not say this unless I'm 100%. I don't know when I say something, I come up with an idea that it's ever going to come to fruition. None of us are promised tomorrow, you know? I don't know what obstacles are going to happen. I don't know that my opinion is not going to change or my mind's not going to change. I don't know that my interest is going to change. You know, when I was a kid, I was somebody that wanted to play guitar one second and be, you know, building the fort the next. Nobody was faulting me when I was a kid for coming up with 400 ideas, you know? They called that being creative and imaginative. As an adult, if you come up with ideas and you don't follow through with it, it's called you're being lazy. No, I don't agree with that at all. At all. You know? I love when I talk to people and they're like, oh, I have this idea for this and this, and I don't even care if they come through with it or not. I'm always like, oh, that would be great. That would be great. That would be great, you know? I have 1,000,001 ideas. And most of them I don't share over here because I'm afraid that people will be like, oh, he's so lazy, he never follows. Well, I'm going to start sharing those ideas over here of things I've got. I've got 15 books I want to write. I probably won't write any of them, but that's okay. Because me entertaining the idea of writing them was exciting for me and it was interesting for me, you know? And like I said, if those are things that really, like, these vlogs are for people to enjoy and to relax to and to, you know, clean their house or make dinner or wind down to at the end of the day and maybe think differently about something or see somebody's point of view or, you know, and share your comments in the comment section below. But if these aren't bringing you happiness, please don't watch them. There's no reason to watch them. And I say this a lot, like, you know, there are 1,000,001 YouTubers out there. Please, if what I am bringing, and I am not asking anybody to leave. It means the world to me that you guys watch my videos. But if what I am sharing or putting out there in the world is making you unhappy in any way, please do not watch my videos. When there is somebody that I watch, you know, and I'm not talking about to cover for my drama channel. I'm talking about somebody that I find and I watch and I start watching them, that all of a sudden something they're doing doesn't make me happy or every video is like, it's too much for me. I'm just like, I just stop watching them. I just don't watch it anymore. It doesn't bring me happiness. You know, when I watch a TV show and I just can't get into it, like, you know, like The Bachelor, I pushed myself to watch that show. I don't know that I'm going to watch The Bachelor. I'll give it a try. But, you know, like with 90 Day Fiancé and Life After Lockup, I was like, this is not bringing me happiness anymore. I'm done with it. Like, now it feels like a chore. I don't want anybody watching my videos because they feel like it's a chore. I feel blessed that I have you guys out there to watch my videos. I don't want anybody going away from my videos feeling worse about their day than they felt before they started watching it. You know? I have a blessed life. I have an amazing life. I feel blessed that I can even put out there in the world all these ideas that I have and these things that I want to do, and maybe half of them will happen and maybe half of them won't. That's okay. I'm a human being. You know? I am not trying to aim for perfect anymore. There is no such thing as perfect. I'm not trying to aim for that list where I cross off everything and at the end of the day I'm a perfect example of myself. That doesn't exist for me. I had to let go of that a long time ago. You know, and there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to say I'm going to do on here and the next day turn around and say I didn't do them. And you know, for a long time, I wouldn't do that because I was so afraid that people would be like, oh, he's lazy. He said he was going to take a walk last night and he didn't take a walk. You know, people clock that stuff. That first week that I wasn't doing well on my weight loss journey, and people were like, he's not talking at all about his weight loss journey on his vlog. Y'all caught it. Why did you think I wasn't talking about it? Because I knew that people were going to say he's being lazy and stuff like that. Right? That's why I wasn't talking about it. I'm not doing that anymore. You know, I had that moment of clarity this last weekend. I'm going to share what's going on in my mind. I'm going to share, you know. If I'm not doing great, I'm going to say I'm not doing great. If I'm doing fantastic, I'm going to say I'm doing fantastic. If I have an idea and I decide to change my mind, you know. Somebody left this comment on my vlog last night, and they said, Peter, Christmas was so difficult for you because you were struggling so hard that you have this idea for this book and this movie. So I'm just paraphrasing this, but they said something to the effect of like, you have this idea for this book and this movie, and maybe this isn't the year. Maybe this is just like, you just want to enjoy Christmas this year and you don't want to like, and I was like, I really never thought of it that way. And I thought, maybe that's what it was. You know, maybe I was struggling so much at Christmas that coming up with this idea for this book, which I still want to do. I still want to do the book and the movie. That hasn't gone away. I just don't know when it's going to happen. But maybe it was like giving me some hope because I was struggling so hard at Christmas. I was like, God, they're so right, you know? God forbid I change my mind and decided, you know, it's the other thing is like, it's always the lazy, right? Y'all don't have lazy days. My husband worked all day today. He's laying upstairs in bed being lazy. I don't see that as a fault or a weakness. I see that as relaxation. But I'm not allowed to relax either. I relax too much, right? Listen, you know, I'm going to be who I'm going to be over here. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about the people that I want to talk about. You know, it's like, and please don't send me stuff anymore about, please don't send me screenshots of what people are saying. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it at all, period. You know, I'm in a really, really good place. I know there's probably this diatribe that I just gave for the last 20 minutes probably doesn't seem that way, but I'm in a really, really good place, and I just don't need to see that stuff. I just don't. You know, unless it's something so concerning that people feel like I need to address it, then I understand that. But if it's some like nonsense about some simplicity of my life that I said in a vlog and somebody linked onto, and oh, he's lying, he said in 2018 and now I don't need to know that, okay? If it's some huge big issue, bring it to my attention. But other than that, I don't want the screenshots and stuff anymore. I know that people do that out of kindness. Oh, did you see what somebody said? I don't need it. I don't need it. I just don't. You know, what other people are saying about me really is none of my business. It just really isn't, you know? I said this in my drama video today, and I'll say it again over here. You know, it's like, I had this moment of clarity this weekend, and I realized, I really thought about my dad a lot. You know, like, my dad has never been somebody in his life that felt the need to prove himself to anybody, right? Never felt like he needed to prove himself to anybody. Because he knew who he was. He knew the truth. So if nobody else believed it or cared, what? Okay, you know. And I respect my dad a lot for that, you know. And I was thinking of my dad when I was reading those memes and listening to music and stuff about like, at my dad at 51, like if somebody said to him like, "Oh, you're a liar, like you don't have an MD," knowing he had an MD, right? Like how would my dad respond? I mean, my dad would have just laughed and kept on walking. He would have given a shit, right? He would not have even spent 2 seconds thinking about it. Could have asked him that the next day. My dad would have been like, "What are you talking about?" Well, somebody said, "Oh, I totally forgot about that." But I was thinking about that of my dad, like when he was 51, and then I thought, but that's who my dad was at like 41, and 51, and 61. That's who he's been his whole life, right? Like I'm done. You know, somebody sent to me that people responded to the fact that I said that I, you know, had this, you know, moment of clarity. I don't care. I don't care what they think. I don't care that they responded to it and they think it's a joke or whatever. Joke's on them. They're the joke. I don't care. I don't care what they have to say. I don't care what they think about me. They're the joke. You know, and the reality is I learned this like 30 years ago watching this Oprah. When Oprah was talking to Maya Angelou, and she said something about, like, people saying that her and Gail were lesbians, and they didn't believe that her relationship with Stedman was real. And Maya Angelou just so calmly sits there, and she looks at her, and she goes, "But you're not in that." And Oprah's like, "Yes, but," and she goes, "No, sweetie, you're not in that. That has nothing to do with you. That has to do with them," you know? And I saw this meme that somebody put out, and it said something to the effect of, I don't even remember. I'll have to, my phone's in there, but I don't want to see it. I don't care. I don't care if they think I'm a joke. I don't care if they think I'm a liar. I don't think, if I am, who is it hurting but me? Okay, like, go over there, have your opinion, say what you want to say. I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it, you know? I'll just live over here happily in my bubble. With my coffee and my true crime, you know? It's a happy bubble. Boo Radley's in it. Why wouldn't you want to live in a bubble with Boo Radley? I mean, you know? I think what's so funny to me is like the excuse is always, well, you talk about people on your drama channel, and you know what the reality is? And yeah, it's exhausting. You know, like, I do, because that's my job over there, is to talk about social media figures. But like, God, sometimes I turn off the camera, I'm like, God, I'm so drained. I don't even care if I hear about this person for the next 2 months. Like, so to then like be so consumed, I do not understand it. I don't get it, right? So anyway, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Can you believe that this lighter right here, okay, from the gas station, this candle lighter, it made it through the entire winter. Everybody told me, they said, take that lighter inside, it won't work. And guess what? I did a couple times, but mostly I left it out here, and it still works. Can you believe that? You gotta live in your own happiness, you know? Like, I made that video, and then it was like a bunch of people sent me shit, and I was like, I literally said in my video, don't send me stuff. I don't want to see it, right? Like, don't. And then, and to be honest with you, I was at a point where I was like, I was in such a good mood and people sent me this stuff and I was like, I'm just gonna start blocking people. I've said it in videos, I don't wanna see it. Unless it is something that, I mean, like, I literally, like, I have to deal with. You know, that somebody is saying something, like, so horrific about me that I have to deal with. Like, I don't wanna see it. I don't care what they think I'm lying about. I don't care if they pulled some 2-second clip, you know, of something that I said in a vlog 2 years ago or whatever. Listen, okay? Like, I know who I am today. I know the work I've done in my life. I'm trying to be the best version of myself that I can be. I haven't always been that person. I've been a shit person in my life, right? You know? Judge me on who I am today, not who I was 10 years ago. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? And 10 years from now, judge me on who I am then, not who I am today. I don't know what to tell you, you know? I think when you don't see change occur, then that's the thing. And that's, you know... But if I don't see it, and I don't seek it out, then I don't have to deal with it. And I don't really care. And then all these people sent me stuff, and they're like, I'm like, did you not hear me in my video? Like, I'm in a good place. Like, I don't want to see this stuff, right? Like, don't. You know? You want to talk about triggering? That takes me right back there again, you know? So maybe in the future, the next person that sends me something, unless it's, I mean, if it's something so minuscule, that it's like, oh, well, this person said that you aren't really in therapy, I'm gonna just block that person. I don't need to hear it. Unless it's something so serious that I need to deal with, don't send it to me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So, anyway. Cheers to better times to come, right? I cannot wait for the weather to improve. You think my drama video is done now? It's probably like, if I started this at 20 till 8, I've been vlogging, oh my God, for 52 minutes, so... It's like 8:30 something. I can't do math to save my life. But I am ready for the nicer weather so I can sit out here regularly, because I've been sitting out here a little bit. Like, this time of night it starts to get cold, but I've really enjoyed it. And I've already been thinking about like my walks this summer. Like when I'm walking, I'm like thinking about my walks this summer and stuff like that, you know? So tonight, I'm gonna get this vlog rendering and then get my drama video up. And then my Peter Does Stuff video, my Peterisms videos are already up for the day. And then I'm going to take my walk and then come back and take a shower, put my pajamas on, and watch Murder Under the Friday Night Lights with some coffee and candles and be all cozy and stuff like that. So anyway, then Boo Radley, like I'm in the middle of a show and I'm so scared, and I can like, he comes down like and goes like right through like the candlelight. It scares me. I get real scared, and then I take him outside and I'm like looking all around me and stuff like that. But anyway, and I am going to keep on doing the true crime on my drama channel, but like 1 or 2 videos a week. I'm going to start doing that probably in April. I've got a couple videos I need to do. So I've got like that I've been putting together and planning. So yeah, so those videos will be coming over there. Anyway, all right, well, I'm going to get off here now because I didn't realize I was almost at an hour. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Wednesday. You made it halfway through the week. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And remember these 3 very... There's an exit there and there. That's from, do you remember that from Roseanne? When Becky dresses up as the flight attendant in the plane crash? Anyway, and there was an exit there, and then she goes, in there. And remember these 3 very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want, or your week if you need to. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but shh, don't tell anyone. And 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much it means to you. Like I always say, you might be putting a smile on their face. You might be changing their day for the better. You might be the only call or text they get today. And you might be making them feel not so all alone. Also, be kinder to one another. Love one another a little bit more. And most importantly, be kinder to yourself and love yourself a little bit more. Because if you're kinder to yourself, you'll be kinder to others. And if you love yourself more, you'll love others more as well. And it's, let's do that work today. Let's do that work, right? Let's say one kind thing to somebody today, even if it's just your dog, you know? By the way, I read this study on Instagram, which means it's absolute fact, that if you tell your dog, I love you, and you say it like uptone, like, I love you, boo. I say this to them like all the time now since I read this, that their heart like speeds up a little bit, and like, it's like healing to them to hear that. So everybody tell your pets that you love them. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Ah! I just almost pushed the camera over. Bye. Love you.